Dear listeners, welcome at another stand-alone episode from the podcast channel Solid State Society. In this stand-alone episode, I want to approach the theme what I was preparing to speak about for a very long time, and I assume that it's really needed to someone open this box of this can of worms, or this Pandora box. The episode itself, as you can see, is called The Greatest Failure under World War II. And the greatest failure what happened in our society was literally forbidden or silencing right, or fascist, if you want to say. And in this episode, I want to actually explain to you, and I know that you are literally indoctrinated by our culture. I was the same way as you just a few years ago. But when I see what is happening in today's world, I understand that this is consequences of leftist ideologies of our world. This is consequences what happened after World War II. Because what happened after World War II was literally that middle and left, basically communist and capitalist, Democrats and and autocrats from communist system have banned everything what was just a little bit to the right from the center on political spectrum. Some of them was real fascist or Nazis. Some of them was just accused by that. But all the people who was on right was silenced by majority, by people at power, and that was capitalist in capitalist countries or communist in communist countries. And this episode, I want to explain to you how that was basically greatest mistake what happened in our society after World War II, and how that leads literally to collapse of the culture and civilization. So, as I told you, the World War II is ending. Extreme right, that's fascism, and their branch Nazism is collapsing. It's defeated, and the communism from Soviet Union and countries like that, together with capitalists, with Democrats from Allied side of the war, are doing tribe like Nuremberg tried, and then ban everybody who have political view or political idea that is closely similar to what the fascists, what the Nazis believed. And that create a huge problem in our society. The problem itself is that you says that, or the people like Democrats says that this is democratic system. Basically, most of the West, most of the global system around the world is democratic system. Even in like communist China, it's partial democratic system. And you says that you have democratic system, and in democratic system, everybody can present their ideas, can be voted or vote, and these ideas can be applied to politics of the country. But the problem, if you say that, when you say that, everybody can say whatever they want, and this is freedom of speech, the problem is when you say that this is the freedom of speech, but you actually silence someone who is trying to say something, that leads to terrible consequences. And I will explain in this video, in this episode, why. The basic problem is most people understand, or we are often saying that in political spectrum, if you says all the political ideas in today's world and basically make spectrum where you have conservatives in the middle, and more you go to the left, more left you are, more leftist they are, then more basically communist became. Most extreme people on the left are the communists, are the feminists, and people like that. Then you have people on right on that spectrum from the middle, and that's often says that they are capitalist, but more and more extreme you go, then more basically fascist and Nazis you became. And why there's problem to silence one side is that if you silence one side, and it doesn't matter if it's actually left or right, but in our example, in what happened in our history was that basically everybody who was a little bit more to the right was silenced, and they was marked as fascist. Until this day, they are saying that, let's say, Russia is fascist state. Russia is not fascist state. It's just basically a successor to Bolshevik communist state. But still there are people who are saying that Russia today, who is invading Ukraine, is fascist state. No, it's not fascist state. Fascism was literally silent and defeated after World War II. And maybe that was not best idea. And why? Because if you have spectrum from left to right, from communists who are most aggressive, most vocal people on the left, and most aggressive people on the right, most vocal people on the right that are fascist. If you want balanced society, you need both sides to be equally aggressive. You need both sides to scream on each other equally. But what actually happened after World War II was that right people were silenced, and that gave the left people ability to control and domain political spectrum in total. Yes, there was variance of that people on the left. So what we can see in power was people who was a little bit to the left, middle to the left, or extreme to the left. So let's say people in our higher education in university system are extreme to the left. But people who are at power, a politician in most countries, are middle to the left, and they are just people who are little bit to the left. But they are all lefties. I would say openly they are open. I will say it clearly: they are all communists. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And in moment when you silence their enemies, that was extreme right, so fascist and Nazist, then they have ability to scream and basically dominate your culture, your politics, and that will lead to their total domination. And that will destroy them, that will destroy your society, because they will literally dominate, and when will they dominate, nobody will point out their own mistakes. And that's the point. That's the wrongness, what happened. All this, it's fascinating because democratic systems like our all the states of European Union, United States, Canada, they all say that they are better. They are basically superior to, let's say, Nazi regime or fascist regime like fascist Italy or basically fascist Japan, World War II Japan. But the problem is, if they are so superior, why they feel need to suppress them? If what they say was true, if democratic system would be really so superior, you will allow dead people to say their opinions publicly, and you will just mock them. I literally imagine that if what they says would be true, that they are superior, that their ideology like democracy is superior to, let's say, fascism, then the people would be, when they saw someone, let's say some young man who will be fascist or Nazis, like skinhead, they would literally invite him to school and says, "Oh, children, look, this is Nazis, look upon them. Is it not crazy?" But no, they feel need to silence them. They feel need to make this political process like normal process. And it's actually funny. And if you heard my series Rise and Fall of Capitalism, you already know that I was literally born and live as child in communist dictatorship country. My country was Czechoslovakian Socialist Republic, and I was born as drawn to socialist, that means communist dictatorship. I know them, and because of that, I know them very well. I know how they work. And communists very like to do these political trials. We today call them basically trial crimes, because most of the time there was manipulated and there was wrong, and there was basically, we call them killing from the justice. So that means that justice system that's supposed to be epitaph of right and justice and law of the society was actually killing people, and they make it as show. Basically, they make it to spectacle, to entertain the people and show them, oh, if you behave badly, as we Communist Party don't want, then we will judge you and we will publicly humiliate you before we will kill you. If you are from capitalist and democratic country and you do not know what I am talking about, I will suggest you go on the streaming, one of the basically famous streaming services, and find there is series, it's sci-fi, three body problem. And the one from the streaming services, not the Chinese origin one, is depicting scene from the Mao Cultural Revolution, where one of these public trials is just on urban area, not like state-like public trial, but still public trials was running. It's showing you how it looks like, and there was a state-like political trials in all the communist systems in Soviet Union, in China, and it happened in my communist Czechoslovakia as well. And it's fascinating that Democrats and capitalists from allies allow that happen with Nazis in Nuremberg trial. No, it's not moral. Basically, you can kill your enemies in the war, but you cannot morally judge them that they did something wrong. Because you win in the war, you win in the fight, it doesn't make you morally higher or morally superior. That's the problem, what nobody realizing. And it's literally coming from that idea what is present in, let's say, movies like Last Combat or Last Trial, basically a movie from middle age France, where there is this dispute between two men about raping of one of that man's wife, and this is concluded by trial when these two people are fighting to each other, and whoever win is winner by the goodwill, and he was right. It's the same what we saw in Game of Thrones. Whoever win, whatever side win, that side was right because God won it. This stupid, unjustified mentality is literally again manifested in Nuremberg trial. Because Allied win, it doesn't mean that they was right, and that's the problem. And you cannot make trials over your enemy after you win the war. Why? Because it's corrupting you in the core. Many noble warrior caste like Japanese samurais or knights in the Middle Europe or many other noble warriors actually knew and discovered in their long and painful road to understanding of philosophy and morality, discovered that you should treat your enemies not in bad way, first of all, and you cannot morally say that you are superior to your enemies, even when you want. That's a problem. You cannot say that you are morally superior because you win in the fight. It doesn't work like that. You win in the fight because you was lucky or because you was a better warrior, but that doesn't make you better. The Romans win over and conquer Gaul and part of Britain and other countries, but it doesn't make them morally superior to Gauls, to France. They invent their country. There was no moral right, even when that was actually good for Roman Empire and for the best of humankind. But still, they was not morally superior. They was not right. They just win, and this had happened after World War II. Allies just win, and that doesn't make them more right than Axis. Yes, you can show that Axis did something and you can say that this was wrong. But actually, if you will go and listen to my series, Three Quantity of Evil, you will discover that it's hypocritical as an unbelievable level to judge after war Nazis and fascists like Axis and say they are wrong because they kill people, but be allied with communists who kill more people than them. How that could be justified? And by the way, for those who believe, like Great Britain actually don't want to go or didn't want to go to the war with Nazi Germany. Even Winston Churchill was actually sorry or says that they should not go to war with them. And it was the same person who was actually planning to go to war with Soviet Russia. But they didn't do it. And history just continued. And that was wrong. And I will make a video where I will point out where the Nazis was just boogeymen of our world. We make them boogeymen, but they was not the worst, not at all. If you say that three countries like Nazi Germany, Soviet Union, and let's say Great Britain, Nazis are the last evil one, literally. But the problem what you created is that if you make them boogeymen, if you make their leader the greatest most evil man in history, that's kind of not true. You can find tons of video on YouTube about many people that was actually more evil than him. And yes, and that's the point, because that's what is creating the error in our society, because you make them boogeymen, you point out their mistakes, but that's actually hide and cover mistakes of other side, and especially like communists. Communists make this trial of Nuremberg with the Nazis, but actually hide their own crimes against humanity. And the time continue. Capitalists constantly, even when there was Cold War between communist and capitalist states, they still remember that there was ally during World War II. And the still in political scheme on both sides, more right people, more people heading towards fascism and Nazism was still silenced on both sides. And by the way, that didn't help to eradicate these people. I generally believe that in today's world, there are more Nazis or more fascists or people who maybe not identify themselves with fascism, but believe in the connotation of fascism. There are probably more people, more fascist politically believe people believe in the same way in today's world that there was during the World War II. Second things, it doesn't make the left and the capitalist Democrats more right. It's actually just said that they win the war. And the pointing out and making them boogeymen created the shadow that covered crimes of the left. So it was basically like evil man hiding behind throne of some king who defeat his great enemy, just and the enemy was defeated because he did something wrong, but the evil man who is hiding behind the throne started doing and did even greater monstrosities than them. And because there was not anyone on right who can actually speak out and point out mistakes of the left eventually through that last 70 years gained more and more power. Yes, the left in different forms. The communists of today, communists from universities, are different than communists, let's say, in Soviet Union. Communist in my Czechoslovakia was a little bit different than communist in China under control of Mao. But that's just shades of grey. Trust me, I understand them. I know them very well. And there are different types. In communism itself, there are variations. So there are Bolsheviks. And I already explained, or I believe I explained, that they are socialists as the group, and people who believe that there's supposed to be some kind of social net and state supposed to care about social, about individual people and their lives. And I myself, I am socialist as well. I understand that, and that's why I actually do not agree with capitalists. But you have a huge group of socialists. The core of the socialists are communists. Hardcore of that core are communists, and even the toughest core of the communists, of Bolsheviks, are Stalinists or people who followed Mao and his teaching. It's literally like sense. So you have tougher and tougher core of the core. This is how it's happening. But they are still left socialist people. And they are also liberals. You must understand that they are always talking about liberals, about rights, about, this is what communists are talking about actually. Oh, why there is some comrade who have money and like bourgeoisie who have lots of money, and why second comrade who is working in his factory do not have as much money as him. That's the point out of the communism. And the left, after World War II, literally take all the power. Because the capitalists and Democrats was like in the middle, but they are people who are not very vocal. They are not very hard. They could be corrupted, and they use corruption, by the way, very, very often. But they are like these more silent, more stoicist people. Yeah, even when they are a little bit more to the right, that it's allowed like capitalists, they are still not very vocal. They are not very aggressive. But more and more to the left, there are more people who are basically communist, like feminist, communist, sometimes anarchist, and many, many shades of the leftist gray. But they are very local. They are very trying to persuade. And if you don't remember my saying that right-wing or extreme right, the fascism is basically male's ideology, and communism, leftist extreme ideology, is female's ideology. Why? Because the fascism, or maybe they are created literally by man and female, because fascism is about hierarchy. And that's what men very much like. Men like hierarchies. It's coded in us, because we used to be in these hunting packs, and pack itself is organization or community that is strictly hierarchical. And men have tendency to go to fascism, to hierarchical system. That's what they like. And that's what they have tendency to go for. On other side, there is left, the communism. And communism, from the word commune is egalitarian system. And I already explained, if you know my series, Gender Wars, and the first episode about 7 circles of hell of gender wars, you know about sixth circle, where I describe 6 to 1, that most of the time of human history, most of our females was living in harem-like families. So basically, there was several wives of one man, and that forced them to live in this commune, in this harem is literally commune, where all wives, all females are theoretically equal. It's not literally, and it's not 100% true even in hierarchical system like pack. They are hierarchical, but in some way they are egalitarian as well. And on other side, the commune like harem, all wives supposed to be equal to each other theoretically, but in practice there are of course hierarchies between the first wife, second wife, third wife, and not wanted last wife. But still, it makes their brains to thinking the way that there's supposed to be community, and community that's supposed to be equal. That is literally communism. That's why the females always thinks in notice like, oh, men's and females supposed to take same salary. That's the communism in the core. If you say that 2 groups supposed to take same salary, then you are communist. That's literally communist idea. Without asking why is that and change the course of that, you are communist. I'm sorry, but you are. But my point, why I'm talking about is that left is more female ideologies, and the females at the right are men's, and men have tendency to use violence to actually fix the problems. So the fascism is more aggressive and violent ideology, but the left is female ideology, and what the females do and where the females are best, that's lies. That's manipulation, demagogy, and lies. And it was actually George Orwell in his 1984, he warned us that communists are literally doing that. He described his newspeak. He described how communism is constantly lying, how constantly trying to manipulate you to think differently. That's what females do. So the left lied. I actually made series Lies of the Left, where I describing the great lies what left feed us in last 70 years, what are totally untrue, but we most likely to believe them, and that make us that make us more inflicted by the manipulation and demagogy. So when you create situation in politics after World War II, where you silent people on the right, that by the way most of them was even men, so that literally after World War II, and that's probably the reason why the feminism has skyrocketed and why all the females get to the politician even when they do not care about politics. It's funny how the feminists are constantly saying, oh, the females are not into politics because there is evil patriarchy, that's by the way lie, that is basically forbidden them to enter politics. But they forget basic thing, that if you have like very common basic people, let's say in some village or small city, even today, who are the groups what talk most and are interested more in politics? It's men. Men are the ones who go to pub or bar and talk about politics, talk about war, politics, sport. That's typical teams of the man. Is it politics of typical team of women? Of course not. And if any feminist says otherwise, they are just lying to you or to themselves. And if the females are not majorly interested in politics and men are, it of course will lead that more men will actually enter politics because they are more interested in politics itself. It is the same way as the men are more interested in things, in machines like cars, and that makes them that more men are car fixers than mechanics than females. They're interested, point them to the way, and we know the most men are point out to the politics, so the most men are in the politics. But the feminist that's leftist, will tell you that they are doing that because there's evil patriarchy that is basically forbid them or trying to discourage them to go to the politics. And I will continue what happened. The people on the right, especially men, are, because men have, especially when they are young, they have tendency to go and fight for hierarchical systems. So they have greater tendency to go to the fascist, to the Nazist ideologies. Of course, it's natural for them, but they are banned by this culture, by this society. They are literally silent. We do not allow them to speak. But on the other hand, if you are leftist, if you are communist, if you says that, oh, this and that is happening and everybody should be equal and we should disturb wealth to everybody equally, society will allow you to speak because they are not banned. And then they can take control of our culture. And if you want to know more, I have actually not just one episode, but series, Babylon Hollywood, where I describe how the Hollywood, basically monopoly of creation of motion picture, TV shows, shows, movies, and even now computer games are totally controlled by leftists, by communists. Journalists are controlled by leftists. Universities are controlled by leftists. And this is all consequences to forbidding the right to speak after end of World War II. And why that angers me, and why is that it's bad? Of course, I can say, oh, they are bad because they silence my side of the political spectrum. But who decide what is right and what is wrong? I will tell you who will decide. The history. History decide who is wrong and who is right. And we, luckily for us, or unlucky for us, as you want to take it, we literally have history enrolling in front of our eyes, literally, and we now see consequences of total leftist domination of culture, politics, of our global system. What I'm talking about is the reason why I finally decided to make this episode and explain why suppressing right was actually wrong was that I was watching a few videos about grooming gangs of immigrants in Western countries like Britain and others, that they are literally raping young girls. And I was thinking, oh my God, this is literally, and the most scary part of that is that culture, like journalists, movie makers, and politicians together, because they are on the left, they are basically communists, and this is consequences of communist behavior, of communist implanted politics, or leftists or liberals, if you want to call it a different way, but basically it's the same group people that leads towards them. The left want more immigration because, and again, I am experienced with communism, and I want to enlighten you, especially those who are, let's say, living in the United States and you do not have experiences with the communism. Communism see all people equal. They believe that there is no existential in basically genetics. There is no genetical programming of the people. That's why they believe that they can You are basically indoctrinated by culture, and if they change culture, they can change you as the person. That literally leads to this woke trans ideologies that young girl can change on man and young man can change to woman as they like, because communists in the core believe that people are basically the same, genetics doesn't matter, and they can change literally from one to another. There was literally one of the communist leader, the female, by the way, I don't remember her name, but she was literally friend of Lenin, the founder of communist Russia, founder of Soviet Union. And she believed that if she broke the egg, literally, then after some times, egg became egg again. And she literally built science in Soviet Union upon this belief. So if you see or heard some person, leftist, who is talking about how man can change to woman or woman to man, they are communists. And they are saying that because they believe that genetics doesn't matter, background doesn't matter, only what it's matter is culture, and if they became in control of the culture, they can change the people. That's their belief. And second important thing, what they actually believe is, second thing from that is that if we are basically all changeable, if we are basically mud that could be reshaped as they want, as they will control culture, and through the culture they will reshape us, they also believe that all cultures, all people around the world are the same. Multiculturalists are in the core communist. They all believe that all cultures are the same, all the people are the same, there are no differences between races, as they believe there are no differences between genders, between man and woman. It's the same logic, and it's actually come from the same communist logic. And because they believe, and by the way, Soviet Union, trust me, Soviet Union was very multicultural. Even when it's in theoretical, in practical, the Stalin was actually killing lots of different nationalities in Soviet Union, but mainly the communism itself believed that all cultural and all races are equal and they can be treated the same way. And that literally lead in our world that United States or countries of European Union are actually accepting all the immigrants. That's what create immigration crisis, because leftists are at power. This is a great example, because many countries like Germany discover that they have a huge problem, that their population is collapsing, that there will not be enough people. They discovered that. Decades ago, by the way. So, because they are in core communist and they do not see difference between people, let's say from Nigeria or Sudan, and people from, let's say, Germany or Netherlands or Sweden, they accept the idea that if their own people, let's say people in Germany, do not make enough children, then they should just call people, let's say from Africa, from South Asia, or from other country that they are totally different. They just call them to move inside Germany, replace people who are not born. Because in their core, they are leftist. By the way, Angela Merkel, who was literally calling immigrants come to the Germany, was born in communist Germany. Is it not a strange coincidence? Of course, she's leftist in the core. She's communist in the core. That's why she and communists do not saw difference between people from Afghanistan and people from Ukraine. And by the way, even people today, and the people who will be member of the government of the state of Donald Trump, do not understand difference between Afghanistan and between Ukraine. That's totally different, two different people. It's two different cultures. That's even different races. But because they are leftists, because they are communists, and even if the people who will now become part of Donald Trump government, even when they are rightist, they are still indoctrinated much by ideas of left. And they are even do not realize that. Saying that all cultures are not equal is so blasphemous, because the culture in today's global world is so controlled by left. It's blasphemous for most people. I hope that you, dear listeners, are not one of them. And I know that it will be hard pill to swallow, because I was one of you as well. I was raised I was born in communist country, first of all. I lived there for first few years, and then I moved to democratic capitalist country. And that country became part of this rich West, and even we have leftists at the power. Even we are brainwashed every day, and I was brainwashed as you. This is literally brainwashing. This is what George Orwell in the book 1984 have warned us. This is what they do. They try to persuade you that all cultures are equal, and if all cultures and all races are equal, then you can replace one ethnic group, let's say Germans, by a group from Nigeria or Sudan or Lebanon or Pakistani or other countries. No, you can't, because they are different people. And I don't say, and I didn't believe one is bad and one is good, but I just saw that one group is doing something good and one group is doing something bad. And yes, I see every group, I believe every group, every nationality on the world have some positive attributes and some negative attributes. Some of groups have more negative attributes, some of groups have positive attributes. But even if every group would be equal, I want survive and sustainability of my group. There is nothing wrong on that. If I live in Czech Republic, I have right to want to my country be occupied by Czech people. And I am not wrong, and I don't, if I said that I want Czechs live in Czech country and nobody else, I don't say that all other nationalities are evil or they're supposed to die out or have bad times or suffer. No, not at all. Especially from start of Russian-Ukraine war, there are lots of people who basically, there are two sides here. There are those who support Russia because there was great history of supporting Russia in my country. And there are also lots of groups who support Ukraine. In this conflict, I am basically very objective. I want Russia to fail, but I also see Ukrainians in not positive light. No. That was badly said. I see mistakes on Ukraine ethnicity as well. And yes, I don't want Ukrainians, and there are like 400,000 Ukrainian people, most of them women and children, who are now living in my country. And when I say I don't want them here, I want them move back to Ukraine, I am seen as evil. Because even very right-wing, very capitalist people are saying that and believe that. But that's actually not true. I want all these 400,000 people from Ukraine move back to Ukraine. And I want they should live in Ukraine and do best what they can, fight, work, prosper, and build Ukraine state as much as prosperous and good and utopic as they can. I want them to be living well. And actually, I see that what they will not tell you, or if you are, let's say, American, or you are Australian, or you are living in different country, you probably do not know, but Ukraine state was very corrupted. That people was very corrupted. By the way, this has happened in all post-Soviet countries. This has happened in my country. I don't know, and I have working theories if it's actually a matter of communist systems before, or they are part of a Slavic ethnicity. I don't know. I'm still working on out to discover why is that. But you can see that Slavic post-Soviet countries have a huge problem with corruption. And there was huge corruption in Ukraine long time ago, before the Russians actually come and take Crimea. And why they did it? Because they did hybrid war. And you can do hybrid war when your enemies can be corrupted. And because there was great corruption, then Russians to take their money, because you are basically fighting against the state, against individuals on other side. So the Russian state can take money, can take huge money, and they can corrupt single Ukraine individuals. And this is what happened. And this is, by the way, also mistakes of capitalist systems and democratic system, because these systems are not capable to, because they are no socialist systems. I don't say communist, but socialist, because everybody is for themselves. They are easily corrupted. And this has happened. This is what happened in Ukraine. This is why the Russians was capable to slowly take parts of Ukraine to corrupt people inside of them, because they used money, because the state was corrupted, because people was corrupted, not just state, people. And this is my argument against, you are probably asking yourself why I'm talking about that here. This is my great argument about moving of huge immigration, moving of great parts of people from countries. No, you're supposed to stay in the country and fight with corruption, fight with enemies, fight with everybody in your country. That's the part. And you can, yes, I know that many people will say, but how can women and children fight in the war with Russia? No, you missed my point. I says that these ladies, these women, even before they have children, they was part of corruption. What happened in the country? There was the one who was working every day and should make their system more stronger and more resistance towards Russian. But this is not happen. So if I say that I want Ukraine's people move back to Ukraine and build a better state there, I want, what I'm saying, that I'm applying basically tough love on them. I want them to have better lives, but I want to force them to have better lives by building better lives for them, by building better state for them. So when I believe that they should move back to their state and build their state in better, more stronger, more, and there is not just matter of military, but there is matter of culture, and there is matter of your economy. That's what I'm trying to point out. Because Ukraine was corrupted, and because there was corruption everywhere, the people was able to be corrupted by Russians. And this is what happened. This is why Russians was capable to overtake it, solve it through the time. And there's matter of culture. And this is, by the way, actually happened in my country as well. Before World War II, we have large German groups on edges of the country, on state borders. And when the Nazis come, they actually vote themselves to be joined to Third Reich, because they want to be part of the Nazis Germany. And today we says that they was betrayers, they was traitors, and we moved them after World War II back. But I actually find one article just a few years ago, back then from the time when that happened, that was basically not politically reshaped, as culturally bastardized by what happened after. And there was the author of article ask themselves why these people don't want to be part of our newly made country, newly made state, and they're more likely to believe that they are Germans and want to rejoin with German Nazis Germany than to stay with us in Czechoslovakia. Because we do not offer them enough culture, enough economic stability, enough social system. And this has happened in Ukraine as well. So if I say that I want all ethnicity move back to their countries and build better countries, I'm not against the ethnicities. I'm not evil on them. I want them to become better. But leftist, the communist idea is that everybody should move everybody what they want. By the way, it's also anarchist belief that there should not be any state borders and everybody should move as well. So this is basically what I'm talking about in Three Quartity Evil, why anarchism, communism and feminism have merged in one huge three-headed dragon or three-headed monster, because many of their ideologies are very similar. They can basically merge in one group. But what I want to try to describe that left, so that means anarchism, communism and feminism, so most extreme variation and shades of left, control our world, our culture, our economic, unfortunately, but mainly our politics and journalists and universities after World War II, control all of them and manipulate their ideologies, their lies in our culture. And one of them is great example of leftist life of rape culture. And I will explain to you, by the way, and it's funny how myth of rape culture created by leftist ideology of feminism have literally led to immigrant groups raping young white girls in states like Great Britain. I know, it sounds so crazy, but this is what happened with communism all the time. Communists at the beginning says, oh, it's unfair that the bourgeoisie, some people, let's say owners of the factory, have more money and more ability, more access to, let's say, scholarship, medicine and goods than worker in that factory. They said that wealth is distributed unequally, and by the way, they are right in that. And they says, communists say, oh, wealth is distributed unequally, and we should just overtake it, and we will distribute wealth equally. And what do we know from history all the time? That actually that leads that wealth is not distributed at all, and what end up to be distributed is poverty. Precisely what the saying, capitalism unequally distribute wealth, communism equally distribute poverty. It's literally how that. But this is what happened with these extreme ideologies as well. The feminists create this myth of rape culture. That rape is everywhere, that every woman is raped, that basically every fifth or fourth woman will be or was raped in her life. By the way, I watched just a few days ago, or just yesterday, very good video why this statistic is false, as all the statistic what feminists are trying to put out under our nose, because what I says, the leftists, most of the leftists are women, and what women do is they lie. So the feminists and communists take all this data or created this data and try to manipulate us to them. And one of that is there is rape culture, and everybody or every fifth or fourth woman will or was raped. It's false. The same saying as most of the accusation of rape are true. It's also it's also false. But the feminism, as typical leftist ideology, are lying to you. So don't trust them. But they create this myth. that there is rape culture, that women are raped, that rape is normal, and they try to persuade societies and the states to basically do, let's say, making laws against the rape culture. And they literally reshape description or definition by law. They change it, so they make basic rape almost everything. So one side, the left, like feminists, they literally made law that now the rape is when, let's say, husband can sleep with his wife when they was sleeping together for many years, but because the husband do not use condom, or he sleep with her when she was drunk, or many other shades of grace, many other shades of manipulation, and they literally, by the law, persuade you that this is the rape. But on the other hand, when there are literally groups of immigrants that is truly raping the young girls, the left don't want to talk about it. They don't want to inform. They indoctrinate police to never take care about it. They literally never allow these articles to be public, or this be publicly known about these examples, and politics on the left don't want to talk about it. Think about how this crazy, but how this is so typical for the communism that happened. They are making literally rape from husband have normal sex with his wife. They are literally making rape from that. So their daughter will be literally truly raped by some Pakistani gang in the streets of London. One leads to another. And by the way, the reason why also the police don't want to hear about, or we don't want to hear, is because they often says and bring in this myth of rape culture, that rape is everywhere, that rape is basically everything. We start to be numb towards their things. So that's the problem what they are creating. That's why it's infected everybody. And I start to thought that I will make maybe video about that someone who heard my first circle of how or gender wars about rape, they will find that I don't consider rape as something bad, because I basically defend many people, many examples of this supposed to be rapists like Harvey Weinstein. No, I just said that because they trying to make description of rape, I mean left, especially in the law, so robust, so unclear, then we as the society, we as the culture, don't want to actually hear about the things like that. So let's say I'm American and there would be an actress that will says that she was raped. I will not trust her, because they already in Me Too move that Harvey Weinstein raped them. But what Harvey Weinstein actually did was not rape. I'm sorry, but he was not rapist. Yes, he was manipulative and he was bad in a way that he did things, but I would not consider that rape. If the actress really went without suggestion of physical violence to the hotel room where she have sex with Harvey Weinstein, when Harvey Weinstein after sex literally went down and licked her pussy so she will have orgasm willingly, I'm sorry, but this is not rape. Yes, maybe it's not right. Yes, maybe he's supposed to be judged for that. But sorry, was not rape. And if somebody like actresses always want to talk about that they was forced to do that because otherwise they would lose their jobs. There was many actresses who lose their jobs, and I believe that he was totally right to, if there was many actresses and you want to put one actress to the movie and you are responsible for that movie and you want to sleep with her, but she don't want to sleep with you, so you don't want her to be in your movie. It's totally like acceptable behavior. Don't forget that it's the leftists who actually believe that sex work is real work, that you can offer your body, that you have sex on camera for money, or you can have OnlyFans or you will have a sex with the money with some stranger, and they said that it's okay. But on other hand, if producer who is responsible for jobs of thousands of people and he is responsible for the movie to be successful, and he just want to have sex with you with actress, where there are 1,000 more actresses who can take your role, and he says, okay, I will give you job, but you must have a sex with me, then you still have right to reject that or to accept that, but you have right to say that. The feminism have corrupt our society to say otherwise, but this is so crazy. I literally says that, I believe, maybe I was talking about, I don't know, that when I was working in the first job, there was manager that was one fast food restaurant, and there was a manager who was literally sleeping with one of his employees, and he gave her a position of manager because of that. And I thought about that. We literally, let's say in my country, we have laws that says that if you're a man and you offer one of your employees, the female employees, that if she will have sex with you, then you will give her salary raise or you will give her a higher position, then that is crime. But if it's otherwise, if the woman goes to her boss, to her employer, and says that I will sleep with you and you will give me salary raise or higher position, why that is not crime as well? And if by the left, and I try to find out very strange how left, the feminism especially, is constantly saying that there's supposed to be promiscuity, that we should fuck everybody as one as we want, that basically we're supposed to have group sex everywhere, and it's always, or it's right to have to women, they literally want to all women became washing machines on dicks, literally. And they said it's okay to sell your body for the money as the model, as OnlyFans models, as content creator, that means pornography, that means literally whore, and taking money for sex. They said it's all right, but then they are saying it's wrong if you offer that to someone else. How strange, how manipulative and twisted is this line of thinking? You cannot have both. You can say it's okay that women offer, let's say, many actresses probably do that, even especially in Hollywood, the actresses who are not famous, but still they do that. They literally probably selling their body, and in Los Angeles, same as Miami, it's large pornographic industry that is literally offering women, hey, if you will have sex and we can take it on camera, we will pay you money. And on one side, the left is saying this is all right. It's all right that the woman can go and take money and have sex literally on camera with some stranger. That is all right. But it's wrong when producer is offering job, or offering basically the money in some sense to young actress, exchange for having sex with her, Now that is bad. Why that is bad? Why double standard? Why the same thing can be wrong and right just because one, the woman want it, and second, woman don't want it. And by the way, in both examples, nobody is forcing them. They always can reject. Porn actors are not forced by the state, by their family to go and have sex on camera, exchange for money. If someone, yes, there are some examples when that happened, and that's crime. We know about it. But on the other hand, an example of Harvey Weinstein, all these actresses still have right to reject him. There was nobody else who forced him. Yes, there would be some consequences that he didn't want to be you as the actress who refused him to ever be in one of his movies. But that is his right to do. If he don't like you, every person and everyone who owns some kind of company and doing some kind of product, and producers are doing product, they are doing movies. And they have right to do with their movies whatever they want. So they have right to hire into movie whatever they want. And if you are if you are rich and powerful producer in Hollywood, and yes, they are basically evil people. Yes, I understand that. And I made a series about how Hollywood is actually bad and how all these people are corrupted. But this is not part of their corruption. They have right to choose. And literally probably their environment, the Hollywood, is corrupting them. Because imagine how many hundreds or thousands of actresses before that one who reject Harvey Weinstein have sex with him before, willingly. That's the point. Yeah, how you know? Imagine that from the view of Harvey Weinstein. You have you are making 101 movie, and there is 101st actress who is coming to you, and 100 actresses before literally offer their own body to you, offer to have sex with you, exchange that you as producer will place her in your movie. And you accept that. And there is 101 actress is coming. And she's typical in every way. She's not special over the 100 before. And you says, okay, as usual, will you have sex with me, exchange for a role in that movie? And she will reject you. Of course you will be angry. And you will say, okay, you will not play in my movies anymore. And you have total right to say that. As any employer have right to hire or unhire anybody in their companies. Making movie is literally like hiring someone in your company. And if you say that Harvey Weinstein have obligation to hire actress even when he do not like actress because the actress was not willing to sleep with him, then you are communist. Literally. And okay, so what the left did, what feminism did, they corrupt our society so much that Me Too movement could happen. Then they create this myth of great rape culture, that raping is happening everywhere all the time and everything is basically rape. They literally change definition on rape or something that is not easily describable, that is not easily noticeable by people, but that literally lead to numbing of the people. Yeah, if actress will now come, oh, the producer raped me, I know from, let's say, example of Harvey Weinstein, thinking, okay, did he really rape you? That means that he used violence or threat of physical violence to force you to have sex with him. Let's say he enter some elevator and put his knife under your neck and literally force himself on you, or you accept to have sex with him in a hotel room, what he ordered before, and he was staying with you and you was silent for many years, that's not rape. I'm sorry, but it's not. But because you, I mean, we as a society, we hear so many stories that they are actually not true, what they are actually not seen by most people as truly rape, we became numb to it. And when truly the girl that was literally actually raped by some, let's say, immigrant group in Britain will come to police station and will try to say, policeman, I was raped, the policeman will not believe her, because he knew that there was this numbing down of the society, because the feminists, the left, persuades or try to persuade all the people that everything is rape and everything, even normal sex between married couples is rape, then he will not believe that girl. And second thing what they did is that we do not punish those who accuse someone of rape and it turned out to be a lie. Just 2 days ago, I was listening story on one of the YouTube channel in my country. He actually have a discussion. He have this testament of many people who was used or raped in their childhood in some time and thing. And then he have also episode of one man who was falsely accused by the rape. By the girl that he raped her, and he talked about how literally to destroy his life or almost destroy his life, how that was very bad experience, and how this was literally not punished. And even when that man was accused of that, even when it was very unpleasant experience for him, he do not sue her, because he was so empathic towards her, towards that young 17-year-old girl. He do not punish her. And that's bad. That's what is happening in our society. The girls and women who accuse, let's say, wife who are divorcing the man and the husbands, fathers of their child, they are accusing their men of sexual assault all the time, because they are literally advised by all this group that's supposed to help the women from the marriages that was abused in somehow. Literally, the group that was built to help women are the group that they are doing this mess. And because we all know, because if you are lying group, ideology group like leftists, like communists, and you are lying to your people, eventually what will happen is that the group, the society, will learn the truth. This is what communists actually did. There was communist dictatorship in my country for 40 years. For 40 years, they was trying to in television saying, oh, we have lots of potatoes in the shops and everybody can buy very easily lots of potatoes. But they try it for once, they would try it for second time, third time, all the time. But through the time, all the people discovered it's not true. And they was literally acting oppositely towards what party in television was saying. So let's say in a second half of the communist era, when on TV they says, oh, there's lots of potatoes and there was good season, Literally, all the people just went immediately to the shop and buy as much as potatoes as they can, because they knew that television, the communists are lying and there's not enough potatoes. So they go and buy as much as potatoes as they can, because they knew that there will be shortage of potatoes. And this is what happened when you are lying. And if the women are lying, and they are accusing falsely of men of sexual assault or even rape, and they are not punished, that is literally creating that is bad, because this is creating bad environment. This is creating of environment where most people, especially men, will not trust women, will not believe in a woman that this has happened. And both of that things basically numbing the people, don't punishing false accusation, and just trying to reshape definition of rape, lead to society where the woman can accuse her co-worker or husband of rape on social media, not even go to the police and destroy man's life on one side, but on second side, if the man is literally a member of some kind of immigrant group, let's say in Britain or Germany or Sweden, and he raped a young girl, and girl wants to go and literally go to the police and try to do something with that, she is refused, because policemen do not believe that, because they already know that at the top are these leftists who try to persuade society something what is untrue. And leftists, especially the ones who are in power, don't want to talk about it, because they don't want to talk about consequences of their politician. It's the same way as the communists at the late stage of the communism, where there is shortages of goods everywhere, don't want to talk about there is not enough potatoes in the country, because their fault government system, because their wrong planning, and they just don't want to talk about it, because if they will talk about it, they will look bad, and they don't want to do it. And this is literally what happened. And in our society, leftists created this idea, or especially the feminists created this culture of immigrants are good, we can come to immigrants, everything is rape, even when the white man will look upon you badly, that's basically sexual assault. And if you think that I am overacting that, this is literally true. I knew that, and you can Google it, I will not tell you which, but there is one series, kind of famous series on one of the streaming service, when the episodes was taken, when they was producing that series, on that show set, there was literally forbidden to look on someone else longer than 5 seconds. Otherwise, that would be considered literally a sexual assault. This is what really happened, and it's almost a decade ago when this this show was first created. So it's almost a decade when the leftists did something so ridiculous as that. And this is what happened in our society. And I know that someone who heard the episode of Gender Wars, or about the first circle of hell, about the rape, and about how the feminists are eroded our belief and our description of the rape itself, someone could have a feeling that I didn't consider the rape as the crime at all. No, as I told you in that episode, I considered rape be catastrophe. Catastrophe is something bad that happened, that have actually probably have several roots and many consequences. And the catastrophe is something what happened, and have many victims and many perpetrators of that catastrophe. That's what I describe. But what I'm talking about is, like, I think about it a lot, how to describe it. To steal someone's money, someone's wallet from his pocket is bad. That's crime. I consider that crime. But I want to talk about if, let's say, you are living in state, you are living in the city, where because the politics of the city and state, there's a huge amount of crime. When the people are living in poverty, and when people are living in hunger, and there's lots of people who are stealing from each other, then I don't want to talk about the single individuals, single examples what happened. I actually in some way understand that if you are living in state or in city where there's huge poverty and huge problems, that will and was forcing people to steal from others. I don't say that this is no more crime. Yes, of course it's crime, and of course you should not steal from others. But if you are living in society that is on brink of collapse, that is very poor, or there are very bad politics of the states, then the crime itself is not as much as bad, and we should first talk about what politics leads to people be forced to steal from others. Even when we are still punishing and we still see someone steal someone else's wallet still as the crime, we should see it in context, and we should start to talk about what happened that society is so flawed that so many people is forced to do that. And this is precisely the same. I still consider rape to be crime, but I want to know what happened in our society. I want to know what leads to that. I want to, because there is obviously a higher number of that crime. This is happening often. Sexual assault is happening often, and it's also happening, and we should talk about it. We should talk about it. There is not just immigration that is causing this situation. It's politics of the left in its core. It's not just immigration who come and can rape because police is not willing to act because it's afraid of these immigrant gangs, but it's also because the politics of the state, politics of the left, lead to women be unmarried, unprotected. The women believe in crazy feminist things like if you have sex with your husband, but you cannot fully consent because you are drunk or are under influence of some drug, then it's rape. That is also bad. So there are many people, many reasons why our society is in a metaphor with stealing, why it's poor, why there are too many people who are forced to steal. So we should ask why there are so many people who are forced to rape others. And it's not just immigrants. And just rape is not only problem in our society that is caused by the left. The left was unchecked for so many times. And what I'm talking about is, if there would be right to allow to speak in our society, they would point out long time ago, even before start of 21st century, they would point out long time ago that what the left is suggesting will lead to that and that and that. They would point out very often. And left would be no so encouraged, would be not so vocal if there would be actually opponent towards them. But this is all consequences of what we did. We silent right, so that leads to rights of the left. And with rights of the left was rise of anarchism, communism, and feminism. That leads that women are raped more than often because there are family destroyed because communism wants to destroy family. Don't forget that communism was ideology that don't want family. The people in political spectrum who wants normally working family, like nuclear family, are most likely people on right, in the middle and right. But people who are more on the left want to destroy family. They don't want to family. At first, feminists definitely want to destroy families, and they succeed. Communism don't want to have family at all. Communism want you as the person be just a member of community, not family, but community. Be member of state, be comrade. That's what communism want. And anarchism wants to everybody be free, not part of any group, so not be part of the family at all. That's what anarchism want. So even if all these three parts literally are not in the core precisely the same, they have same goal, and that was destruction of family. And with destruction of family, you have problem with rape, you have problem with sexual assault, you have problem with immigrants. With destruction of family, you need immigrants in your country. That's the problem, because the capitalism drive people to not having babies, and communism just says, okay, if we don't have any babies, if we don't have new Germans born in Germany, then we will just bring immigrants from other countries, like from African states, because all the people are the same, all the culture, all the races are the same. So basically, it's often says that today communist China is combination of wars from the capitalism and communism as well. But this could be applied to everybody, everywhere. Total global Western civilization. We literally can say that worst from the capitalism and worst from communism, worst from the capitalism and worst from the left was combined. And this is consequences. And we must stop to silence, after 70 years, we must stop to silencing right, stop to silencing fascist and Nazis, because it's destroying us, because it's giving power to the left, and then left is destroying our society. If they would have natural enemies in extreme rights that would be allowed to speak publicly on our culture, then these riots would actually point out the mistakes of the left. This did happen. And this is the consequences. On one side, you have crazy feminists who color their hair and considered basically almost every sex, every sexual encounter between man and woman as the rape. But that on other hand, because they also says that all immigration is good and all people should live whatever they want. So immigrants from different countries should live in Sweden, in Great Britain, in Germany. They literally denying if some young girl is truly raped by some immigrant gang. Or not just gang, but even in the families that happened. And of course it will happen because people are living in poverty of literally sexual satisfaction, because destroying of family that created a lack of fulfillment of sexual need for men, literally. Because that's the problem of female hypergamy that was not realized in second wave of the feminism. When the females can have sex with whatever they want, when they are not forced to nuclear family, they sleep with only top 10% of the males, and that leads that, or top 20% of male, that leads that 80% of male cannot fulfill their need for sexual satisfaction. So it's the same way as with my metaphor with poverty. if you have state or city where there's too many people, too much poor, that create society where there are people who cannot fulfill their basic needs, like have money to buy food. And literally, by allowing to left control our society, we literally create the same example with the sex. We create the state where there is no family that can fulfill sexual needs of man, and that create the man became sexually depressed, and depressed man will do often bad things. They will fail and they will have sex with someone what they should not have, like with more young people, or with stepdaughters or things like that. So it's not a problem just immigrants, it's a problem everywhere. Destroying of family was the greatest crime of feminism. Or maybe second greatest crime after blaming innocent people and basically destroying idea of, or bringing back idea of group and heritage guilt. It's basically their second greatest crime, destruction of family. Because left want destruct family, left want you to live in community, in communism, where you are just another comrade, where you do not have wife or husband, children, where they are just another comrades, and all of you are just holding you in check. And this is literally what happened in our society. Denying or punishing or trying to suppress right or extreme shades of right like fascism was the greatest mistake after World War II. And it's a mistake for what we are paying heavy price. And we will continue to pay the price. Even if we decide to fix it right now or tomorrow, we will still pay a heavy price. Because there are literally generation of people who was raised without family. There are generations of people who was raised by immigrants, and we are literally in society where the cultural movie makers, show makers, computer games makers, journalists or politics are controlled by left, by their ideologies. They are constantly saying their lives, and they are not allowing anyone who can oppose them. Was our greatest mistake what our civilization did after end of World War II. I hope I give you something to think about it. I wish you all good nights, good days, good mornings, or good evenings to all of you. And hopefully to hear each other again. Goodbye.